Imagine walking down the street when suddenly a little girl, no more than 7 years old, runs up to you, her eyes swollen with tears, her tiny voice trembling as she cries, "Please, follow me home." Would you hesitate? Would you think it's just a child's game? Or would you feel that gnawing sense that something is terribly, terribly wrong? This is the story of one little girl whose desperate plea brought police officers into a home where secrets were buried, and what they found left an entire community in tears. Stay until the end, because what unfolds isn't just about saving one family, it's about reminding us all of the power of courage, love, and hope even in the darkest of nights. It was a cold autumn evening in a quiet neighborhood. Officer Michael Harris had just finished a long shift. The streets were mostly empty, the glow of streetlights reflecting off wet pavement. He was on his way back to the precinct when he heard hurried footsteps. Out of the shadows came a small girl, no older than 7, her pink sweater soaked, her hair tangled, and her face streaked with tears. She clutched his uniform desperately, sobbing, "Please, officer, please follow me home. Something's wrong with Mommy and Daddy." Michael immediately knelt to her level. "Hey, sweetheart, slow down. What's your name?" Through hiccuping breaths, she whispered, "Emily." Every instinct in Michael screamed this wasn't a prank. The child's terror was real. Without wasting a second, he radioed dispatch for backup and took her small hand. "Okay, Emily. Take me to your home." They hurried down a narrow street, Emily pulling him with all the strength her tiny body could manage. She didn't say much, just repeated through sobs, "Please hurry, please hurry." When they arrived, Michael's heart dropped. The house looked abandoned, paint peeling, broken windows patched with cardboard. But what chilled him was the silence inside. No laughter, no movement. Just the faintest sound of coughing. Michael pushed open the door. The stench of mold and stale air hit him instantly. And there, in the dim light of a flickering lamp, he saw it, an elderly woman, lying unconscious on the couch, her breathing shallow. Beside her, a man sat slumped over, his hand hanging limp, a bottle of empty pills on the table. Emily's voice cracked as she cried, "That's my mommy's parents, and Daddy, they won't wake up." Michael's training kicked in. He rushed to check pulses, calling out urgently for medics over his radio. The grandmother was alive but weak. The father was breathing but barely. But something tugged at him. Where was the mother Emily mentioned? Suddenly, faint cries came from the back room. Michael sprinted down the hallway and froze when he pushed open the door. Inside was Emily's mother, barely conscious, holding a baby in her arms. Her face was pale, her body frail. She whispered, almost inaudible, "Please, help my children." The scene was too much for even a hardened officer to take in. Poverty, sickness, despair, all under one fragile roof. And yet, in the middle of this nightmare, a little girl had been brave enough to run out into the night and beg for help. That night, Michael didn't just find a family in crisis. He found a truth he couldn't ignore. Ambulances arrived within minutes, flashing lights painting the street red and blue. Neighbors peeked through curtains, whispering. The paramedics worked frantically, oxygen masks, 4 drips, stretchers rushing in and out of the broken home. Emily clung to Michael's leg, sobbing, refusing to let go as strangers carried her loved ones away. Michael bent down and looked her in the eyes. "Emily, listen to me. You are so brave. You saved your family tonight. Do you understand that?" She shook her head, tears dripping down her cheeks. "But what if they don't come back?" Michael's throat tightened. He didn't have easy answers. But he promised her, "We're going to do everything we can. And I'm not leaving you, okay?" Over the following days, Michael visited the hospital every chance he got. He learned that Emily's father had been battling depression after losing his job. The grandmother had fallen ill, and the mother, trying to care for everyone, had collapsed from exhaustion and hunger. They had been surviving in silence, ashamed to ask for help. But Emily, sweet, innocent Emily, had refused to give up. She was the only one strong enough to act. The story spread through the town. Strangers who had ignored the struggling family before now lined up to help, donating food, clothing, money, and medical care. A local church organized volunteers to repair the family's home. For the first time in years, hope began to seep back into their lives. And at the center of it all was Emily, the little girl who had run through the dark, clutching a stranger's hand, begging for help when no one else could. Months later, the family stood together outside their repaired home. The father, now in therapy and working again. The mother, healthier, holding the baby. The grandmother, recovering but smiling. Emily ran into Officer Michael's arms, giggling instead of crying this time. She whispered, "Thank you for listening to me that night." Michael hugged her tightly and said, "No, Emily. Thank you for being brave enough to save them." The entire town watched as the family stepped inside their new beginning, tears in their eyes. Sometimes heroes don't wear uniforms, don't carry badges, don't have power or money. Sometimes, they're just little girls with tear-streaked faces and hearts too big for their small bodies. Emily's courage saved her family, but it also awakened a whole community to the truth: no one should suffer in silence. Help is always needed. Love is always the answer. And when you hear someone cry, "Please follow me home," maybe that's exactly where you're meant to go.